patented the design for this new Spider, which we're calling a biomimetic suspension system. We patented that 17 years ago. We finally have figured out, so it's essentially a ring with 3 legs coming off of it as opposed to a full fabric spider. The difference in noise inside the cabinet between the last generation and this current generation is about 80 decibels. So not an insignificant change of overall sound going on inside the cabinet. So all of that pressure that was slamming into the back of that mid-range driver is now reduced to essentially nothing. The new Spider is virtually silent. At least we haven't found a way to measure it yet. So if there is any noise being created. So the openness and detail that you get, particularly in the mid-band on these speakers, is just much more revealing. Using the same cone, the same continuum cone, and a revamp. The mid-range housing is similar, but again, we measured inside what was happening, and we found that the fins on the turbine head were operating essentially like tuning forks at very specific frequencies. So we dampened those, used the matting material, and eliminated those resonances that were occurring on those tuning forces. So between the Spider, the new tune mass dampeners, there's just a much more open and transparent mid-band on these bigger speakers. So for that, mid-band for me equals guitar. Let's do, actually, you know what? Let's do some snares. The decay on this snare in this particular cut is great. This is Black Mambo by the artist Glass Animals. Saw them in Manhattan years ago, then saw them again in New Haven, not knowing they were a college band. So when I walked into that crowd, I was by far the oldest guy in that crowd. They all turned and was like, "There's the narc." So, but a great band. If you ever get a chance to see them, they're fantastic musicians. Jump around on stage, changing instruments, really are great. Track's called Black Mambo. Tons of detail on the high frequencies, but the decay on this snare, which speaks to that crossover point that we were able to play with much more on the between the tweeter and mid-range, is just so detailed. It just feels real. It's a great quality recording. Black Mambo. Lots of detail. Just that effortless mid-band just gets much more apparent. Thanks to that Spider, because now that driver isn't fighting against back waves inside the cabinet that aren't supposed to be there.
I've got to go actually, but I wondered, is there any chance you could stick on Haydn's Creation?
Sure.
Here, you want to sit in the center for that one?
Oh, that's nice.